David Montgomery last year was running back 20, 225 rush attempts, 849 yards, 7 touchdowns, 42 receptions, 51 targets for 301 yards, and zero tutties through the air. Kevin, what are your thoughts here on David Montgomery?
I like Monty. I do. I think that a lot of people kind of forget about him. Think his season a couple years ago was a fluke with the not historic but really strong run down the stretch, right? And last year didn't quite pan out, right? He got injured middle of the season, missed 4 games, so that kind of dampened his fantasy statistics. But once he came back, he picked right back up, and he was that borderline RB1 for you down the stretch. And a lot of what was happening was Justin Fields was finding him in the passing game, right? David Montgomery is a good receiver of the football. He did that very well at Iowa State, and he didn't get that much use his first season because Tariq Cohen was still there. But last year, you started to see his hands show up, and because of that, I really like David Montgomery. He is a guy that I think has running back one potential, and really is a guy that you can get at more of a value, right? If you're waiting a little bit on running back, right? Especially in, well, I guess really in any format, but specifically super flex format, you can pick him up in the third or fourth round in a super flex. So if you're going single QB, you know, and kind of how some of that dances around a little bit, you can still grab him at the top of the third round in singles as your first or possibly second running back to be able to kind of pick him up in that, third or fourth round range, no matter the format, with the potential of finishing running back one. There's value built into that pick. You're not having to spend, on a high end pick like I'm going to say Nick Chubb only because I think by the time the seasons are over, Monty and Nick Chubb's scoring output will be about the same for fantasy purposes.
One of the things in the past that you could always rely on with David Montgomery was him to get 20 touches a game, right? Like he was one of those that he was going to be a volume back just because of how Chicago ran their offense and how they did things. I think a lot of that is going to continue on, and I think that you'll still see him getting about 20 opportunities a game on that one. So absolutely, like I love the fact of where you can get him in drafts, right? He's the beginning of the third round, actually middle of the third round type of thing right now, as far as that goes. So you can get a mid third round value and a guy that should easily finish running back, mid running back 2 at the worst, right? You think about this last season, finished running back 20, and that was with missing 4 games in the middle of the season there. And again, right, to your point, over the second half of the season, where he played that entire second half, he was running back 11 through that stretch of games, that last half of the season there. So I absolutely love David Montgomery, and I love the fact that of where you can get him in drafts.